discuss about the top new criticism. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
The group who would like to present a material. Are you
Your
for the
voice is unclear,
team
ma'am.
presenters? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Unclear? How about now? Test, test.
That's okay. It's clear enough.
Okay, thank you. How about the presenters for today? Are you ready right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We are
ma'am.
ready.
We are
Okay, if
ready.
you've been ready, without further ado, you may share your slide right now. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Rina Febrianti, SSMPD.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, my fellow postgraduate student of Unindra. Today is my group's turn from Group 10 to present our topic of new criticism theory. Before begin our presentation, I would like to introduce my group members. The first one is Duyono myself, and then Miss Floren Merianti and Miss Twini Julia Pritanaya. However, this occasion, Miss Floren is absent because of her mother's being treated in a hospital. Let's move to the next slide. Our presentation cover 6 subtopics. The first one is introduction, principle of new criticism. The fourth is close reading. The fifth, conclusion. And the last or the sixth is references. The purpose of the presentation is to provide a clear and focus on the understanding of new criticism theory, a major literary theory with emphasizes close reading, and the analysis of literary texts as self-contained works of art. This presentation aims to explain the key principles, methods, and educational impact of new criticism in a way which is accessible to students. The scope of this presentation includes 1. A brief overview of the historical background and development of new criticism. 2. An explanation of its core concepts, such as textual autonomy, the intentional fallacy, and the effective fallacy. 3. A demonstration of how close reading works in practice. Relevance of new criticism in literary studies today. One of the most lasting contributions of new criticism is its emphasis on close reading. This method continues to be a foundational skill in literary education, encouraging students to pay careful attention to language, structure, and literary devices. Regardless of theoretical perspective, many scholars still rely on close reading as starting point for deeper interpretation. New criticism also laid the groundwork for formal analysis which remain useful when examining the internal logic and unity of a text. In an era where literary theory has become increasingly interdisciplinary, bringing in perspective from politics, psychology, gender studies, and more. New criticism offers neutral, text-centered approach which can balance and complement broader interpretation. Historical background, origin and development of new criticism, early influences. The roots of new criticism can be traced from back to the work of British critic I.A. Richards, whose books The Principle of Literary Criticism, 1924, and Practical Criticism, 1929, laid the foundation for close textual analysis. Richards was particularly interested in how readers interpret text, and he emphasized the importance of analyzing the language and structure of poems without relying on external information. The American development. In the United States, new criticism was developed and popularized by a group of certain critics and academics, including John Crown Ransom, Clint Brooks, Alan Tate, and Robert Penn Warren. Ransom, 1941 book, the New Criticism gave the movement its name and articulated its goal to make literary analysis more systematic and scientific. Rise to dominance. By the 1940s and the 1950s, new criticism had become the leading clarity, and structure. The method offered a standardized approach to literary analysis, which could be taught, tested, and applied across various types of text. Decline and legacy. By the late 1960s and 1970s, new criticism began to decline as newer critical theories emerged, including structuralism and post-structuralism, Marxism, feminism, and reader response theory, all of which challenge the idea of the text as an isolated object. Critics of new criticism argue that it ignored important social, cultural, and political contexts. Key figures in new criticism. The first one is I.A. Richards, 1893, 1979. I.A. Richards is from British. He is often considered as a pioneer of modern literary criticism. Though not new critic in the American sense, his idea laid the groundwork for the movement. The second one is T.S. Eliot. The nationality of T.S. Eliot is British American. Primarily known as a poet, T.S. Eliot was also a profound critic whose essays shaped early new critical thinking. He argued that a poet should not express personal feelings directly in their work, a view that supported the idea of literary objectivity. In tradition and the individual talent, Eliot introduced the concept of impersonal theory of poetry, where the poet's role is to unify emotion and intellect into an artistic form rather than simply express individual experiences. The third one, Cleon Brooks. Cleon Brooks is an American. He perhaps is the most influential figure associated directly with the practice of new criticism. His work in The Well-Wrought Urn is considered a definitive example of new critical analysis, where he demonstrated how paradox, tension, and irony are central to the meaning of poetry. And the last is John Crow Ransom. John Carroll Ransom is an American. He was the first to name the movement in his book, The New Criticism, 1941, where he called for more scientific and systematic approach to literary analysis. He rejected the older tradition of historical or biographical criticism and argued for analyzing a text based solely on its internal structure. Core principle of new criticism. Textual autonomy. One of the foundational principles of new criticism is the idea of textual autonomy. This concept holds that a literary work is self-contained, self-sufficient object. Its meaning, structure, and value exist independently of external factors such as the author's biography, historical background, social context, or the reader's personal response. Key features: the text speaks for itself, exclusion of authorial intention, exclusion of reader emotion, and unity and coherence. The intentional fallacy. One of the most important concepts introduced by new criticism is the intentional fallacy. This term refers to the mistake of basing the interpretation of literary work on the author's intention. That is what the author meant to say or wanted the reader to understand. Key ideas behind intentional fallacy. The author is not the authority one. A literary work is written or and published. It becomes independent or of the author's control or intention. The work must stand on its own, and its meaning comes from its language, structure, and literary devices, not from the author's private thoughts. Authorial intention is if the author explains what they meant. That explanation is subjective and often incomplete. Readers can misinterpret or overinterpret the author's intention, and the authors themselves may not be fully aware of the deeper meanings within their work. 3. Focus on the text, not the creator. The new critics believe that a poem or any literary work should be treated as an autonomous object. The reader's task is to analyze how the parts of the text function together to produce meaning, not to recover the author's personal perspective. The affective fallacy. The affective fallacy is another concept introduced by the new critics, particularly by W.K. Wimsatt and Monroe Siberts-Leigh in their 1949 essay titled The Affective Fallacy. It refers to the error of interpreting a literary work based on the emotional response it evokes in the reader. In other words, it is a fallacy to assume that a work's meaning or value can be measured by how it makes the real reader feel. Key ideas behind the affective fallacy. Feeling is not the same as meaning. While literature can certainly stir emotion, new critics insisted that these feelings are not a guide to interpretation. Instead, the meaning of a work lies in how it is constructed, not in how it makes the reader feel. Second, subjectivity leads to inconsistency. Emotional responses are personal and can differ widely between readers. If interpretation is based on emotion, no two readers would ever agree, and literary criticism would become purely subjective and unconstructive. 3. Focus on the text, not the reader. Just as the intentional intentional fallacy warns against focusing on the author. The effective fallacy warns against focusing on the reader's psychology. New critics believe that criticism should be about what the text is, not what it does. Organic unity and formal structure. Organic unity is the idea that all elements of literary work, including its imaginary, tone, diction, symbols, form, and themes, are intricately connected and work together to create a coherent and unified whole. According to new critics, a great work of literature cannot be broken into isolated parts. Rather, its meaning arises from the interplay of its elements. Formal structure refers to the deliberate organization or arrangement of literary elements in work, including its form, such as sonnet, novel, or play, the order of events, the development of imagery, rhythm, meter, and even punctuation and syntax. For new critics, analyzing the structure is essential to understanding how the text functions. The next will be delivered by another member, Ms. Twinning. It is your turn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Tuhu, for the explaining. I will continue to explaining the next slide. There is a close reading. Definition of close reading. Close reading is a method of literary analysis that involves the careful, detailed, and objective examination of a text language, structure, and form to uncover its deeper meaning. Rooted in the principle of new criticism, close reading treats the text as a self-contained and autonomous work of art, independent of the author's intention, the reader's emotional response, or historical and biographical context. Unlike general or surface depth reading, close reading goes beyond simply understanding the plot or storyline. It asks the reader to engage with the specific choices made by the writer, including diction, imagery, syntax, rhythm, symbolism, and literary devices, and to consider how these elements to contribute to the text's overall unity, complexity, and meaning. The next one. Purpose of close reading. The main purpose of close reading is to discover how a text works, not just what it says, interpret meaning based on internal evidence rather than external context, reveal the interconnectedness of form and content, develop critical thinking and analytical skill by training reader to observe detail, question assumption, and construct interpretation grounded in the text itself. The process of close reading. Close reading typically follow a step-by-step process that allow reading to move from observation to interpretation. There is number one is initial reading, grasping the surface meaning. Read the text thoroughly to understand its literal meaning. Take note of the genre, note, tone, and voice. Ask what is happening in the text, who is speaking, what is the subject. Number 2 is detailed analysis. Language and literary feature. There is diction or word choice. Are the words formal or informal, abstract or concrete? What connotation do they carry? And next, syntax or sentence structure. The example is, are the sentences long and flowing or short and abrupt? How does sentence structure affect tone and rhythm? The next, imagery. The example is, what images are used? Are they visual, tactile, auditory? How do they contribute to mood and them? And next, figurative language. You must look for metaphor, similes, personification, hyperbole, each. What do these devices suggest beyond the literal? The next, sound device or if poetry. Tone, not rhyme, meter, alliteration, assonance. How do sound patterns reinforce meaning or emotion? Number 3, observing pattern and contrast. Identify repetition, contrast, shift in tone, or change in perspective. Look for symbolism or featuring motif. And ask, are there attention or paradoxes in the text? How are they resolved, or if at all? Number 4 is examining structure and form. How is the text organized? Example, stanzas in poems, act in a play, chapter in a novel. Next is there a logical or thematic progression? In poetry, what is the form or sonnet, prefers, and each? How does the form shape the content? In prose, how do narrative techniques, such as point of view or pacing, influence meaning? Number 5 is synthesizing observation, constructing interpretation. Bring together your finding to develop an interpretation of the text, central idea or them. S. How do different elements of the text interact to create unified meaning? Does the text reflect organic? Does the text reflect organic unity, where all parts work together toward a coherent whole? The next slide, please. The example of close reading in practice. Consider this opening line from Shakespeare's Sonnet 18. Shall I compare the
Summer's day. Day.
Shall I compare day to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. A close reading would analyze the rhetorical question. It set up a comparison and invites reflection. The contrast between the beloved and summer, more lovely, more temperate, This word suggests calmness and ideal beauty. The connotation of summer, beauty, but also change, impermanence, hinting at one of the poem's central themes, immortality through poetry. Tool of analysis. There is imagery, symbolism, irony, paradox, and tone. Number one, imagery. Definition of imagery refers to the use of descriptive language that appeals to the sense, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. It helps create vivid mental pictures and emotional response in the reader. The role in analysis. New critics examine how imagery contributes to the atmosphere, themes, or emotional undercurrent of a text. Repeat or contrasting image can reveal deeper meaning or internal tension. The example is in William Blake, The Tiger, the image of the burning bright creature in the forest of the night uses visual and symbolic imagery to evoke a sense of mystery, danger, and divine power. Number two is symbolism. Definition of symbolism is a symbol is an object, character, or even that represent something beyond its literal meaning, often conveying abstract ideas or themes. Number three, irony. Definition of irony. Irony involves the contrast between expectation and reality, or between what is said and what is meant. It often creates tension or exposes contradiction. The example of irony is in Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. The speaker ironically claimed to have taken the one less traveled by, even though early in the poem, both paths were described as equally worn. This irony complicated the theme of individual choice. Number four is paradox. Definition is a paradox is a statement that appears self-contradictory or absurd, but upon closer inspection reveal a deeper truth. The example is by in John Donne Holy Sonnet 10. The line is that thou shalt die. Is paradoxical. How can death itself die? The statement, however, points to a Christian belief in eternal life, thus resolving the contradiction on a thematic level. Number five is tone. Tone is the author of or speaker attitude toward the subject, audience, or them, conveyed through word choice, freedom, and style. The example is in T.S. Eliot, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. The tone fluctuates between self-mockery, despair, and philosophical detachment. This shift reflects the speaker's inner conflict and social alienation, which are central to the poem's meaning. Number 6 is analyzing a poetry through new criticism analysis theory. There is The Sick Rose by William Blake. Oh, Rose, thou art sick, the invisible worm that flies in the night. In the holy stone has found out thy bed of crimson joy, and his dark secret love does thy life destroy. Uh, there is imagery and symbolism. Rose said, Rose often symbolizes love, beauty, or innocence. Jack, corruption, or decay. Invisible room, meaning possibly a hidden truth, symbolizing guilt, sexual corruption, or destructive passion. Crimson joy, meaning convey intense pleasure, but the word crimson can also suggest blood, danger, or mortality. Irony and paradox. There's a paradox between love, association, and the rose, and destruction brought by the worm. Irony arises in the way secret love is not nurturing but fatal. Next, form and structure. Two quatrain or 4-line stanzas. Unrhymed, and irregular in meter, mirroring the tension and imbalance within the poem's theme. Enjambment or continuity of lines reflect the instruction, intrusion, and reading of corruption. Unity and organic form. The poem achieves organic unity, a key new critical concept. Every element or image, word choice, structure work together to reinforce the central tension between innocence and its destruction by hidden corrupt forces.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Twinny. I will continue
Thank you, Mr.
the presentation to read the conclusion. Conclusion of our presentation. New criticism focuses exclusively on the literary text itself, its structure, language, and form, rather than historical, biographical, or cultural context. The primary method is close reading, a detailed, careful analysis of how a text's formal elements like imagery, metaphor, diction, syntax contribute to its meaning. Another term by Wimsatt and Beardsley is once again interpreting text based on emotional responses from readers, which can be too subjective. New critics emphasize a work's internal unity, how each part contributes to a coherent whole. They value paradox, ambiguity. A literary work is seen as self-contained, organic, whole, where every element is purposeful and contributes to the overall meaning. The text is autonomous. It should stand on its to be understood or appreciated. That is our presentation, and now we step to question and answer. If there are questions from the listener or the audience, is welcome, and we'll try to answer the question. Thank you. Dr. Rina, I think it's enough, our presentation. Now we come to question and answer.
Yes, sure. Certainly. Please, everyone, feel free if there is any questions from, but it seems that Ibu Nurlina and Pak Hen would like to ask questions. Okay.
Pak Hen first. Pak Hen.
Halo.
Yes,
Assalamualaikum
yes.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Can
warahmatullahi
everyone hear
wabarakatuh.
me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, Mr.
Thank
Hen.
you very much. Because I live somewhere on a mountain, sometimes the signal is on and off here. So, Assalamualaikum, Ibu Dokter.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's a very clear. Your voice
Thank you.
crystal clear.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Dr. Rina. Okay, and also this is kind of a new theory that we have to learn. It seems that this theory is very good, and the way you present, especially when Twinny gave an examples of how to analyze the poem or poetry in this case, so it seems a little bit complicated, but my question is very simple here. So the question is here, how does new criticism relate to other literary theories such as reader responses or post-structuralism? I think that's all the question. Thank you very much, Pak Tuhu and Ibu Twinny.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hen. Your question will be answered by Miss Twinny. Miss Twinny?
Sorry about the background noises. I'm in I would like to answer the question by Pak Hen and Royono. The question is, how does new criticism relate to other literary theories, such as reader responses or post-structuralism? The reader response theory, there is three. Number one is contrast. Reader response theory center on the reader role in creating meaning. It argues that the text does not have a fixed intrinsic meaning, rather meaning arise in the interaction between text and reader. New criticism view reject the idea that reader interpretation should influence textual meaning. It warns against the effective fallacy, the error of evaluating a work based on its emotional impact or on the reader. Key difference. New criticism seeks objective analysis, reader response embrace subjective interpretation. 2. Post-structural Post-structuralism. By contrast, post-structuralism challenges the idea of fixed meaning and stable structure, emphasizing language instability and the multiplicity of interpretation. By new criticism view, assume texts have unified meaning that can be discovered through careful analysis. By key difference, while new criticism seeks coherence and unity, post-structuralism of highlight maybe that in by question Mr. Kenton. How about my answer? Pak Hen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Winnie. Yeah, but right now I'm trying to understand this kind of theory apply. Sure. Thank you very much, Winnie.
The next question is by Miss Nurlina, ya?
Yes, Ms. Twinnie. Assalamualaikum, everyone. It is an interesting topic, actually, especially for me as a high school teacher. But I'm curious about something, and it will be my question, I think. The question is, how does new criticism in literature apply to the English material for high school students nowadays? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question, Ms. Lurlina. I will try to answer your question. Your question is, how does new criticism and literary apply to the English material for high school students nowadays? I will emphasize on 3 points. Activities. The first activities is analyzing literary devices. The second one is close reading. And the third one is textual analysis activities. In analyzing literary devices, there are 2 activities. The first is identifying imaginary and symbolism, in which students can analyze how authors use imagery and symbolism to convey themes and meaning. And the second activity is examining foreshadowing and irony. Students can identify and interpret foreshadowing and irony in literary texts. The second activity is close reading. By analyzing sentence structure and language, in which students can examine how authors use sentence structure and language to create tone and atmosphere. Second, identifying themes and motifs, in which students can identify and analyze themes and motifs in literary texts. And the last activities in textual analysis. Students analyze character development, in which they can examine how authors develop characters and relationships, and students examine plot structure, where students can analyze how author use plot structure to create tension and suspense. That's my answer. Maybe it can be added by our lecturer, Ms. Lina. I think it is enough. Thank you very much. Dr. Rina, I think it's enough for my group's presentation.
Okay. Is there any more questions before I summing up our material today? Okay, it seems that it's time for me to sum up, our discussions this afternoon. So let me share first my summary then. Okay, everyone, can you see my slide right now?
Yes, clearly. We can see the screen clearly.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer. Firstly, I'm going to discuss just a little bit the history. Similar, actually, it's been explained detail by Pak Tuhu previously about the history of new criticisms, but according to my Corey Ransoms, one of them, and then NC or new criticism was developed in the early 20 to 30s and was popular between 40 and 50, particularly in United States as a part of English education method. Criticism. So this kind of approach appear that's the main purpose. Stated that it needed to become more systematic, and that things like personal responses to literature and historical background should not influence criticisms. He said that text, and in the text is alone. It means impersonals when doing analysis regarding to new criticisms approach. The analyst no need to concern about the self-interpretations or relating to the author, only focusing from its text self without any influencing from outside. And it's been stated by Pak Tuhutu previously, and that's I agree with that. And then new criticism is theory that emphasizes close reading and particularly of poetry to discover how a work of literature functions as a self-containing and self-referential aesthetic object. And new criticism theories consider critics who have an orientation to analyze poets or any other literary work outside the text as irrelevant. Outside the text is irrelevant. I mentioned it twice, because it's the characteristics of a new criticism approach. It is forbidden to analyze literary work from the backgrounds of the writer. We don't have to mix of the interpretations of the writer. We just focus on text itself, because it would ruin the purity of the text based on him. The meaning of the later work also has to be secure from the feeling interpretation from the reader. To know the meaning of the text, it is necessary to understand language and literature. And the next one is new criticisms is a school of thought that analyzes any piece of literary work by close examinations of the work's word, including both connotative and denotative meaning, and after that it moves to the allusion insight. So we analyze this from the text, such as from the phrases, the words, the grammar, clauses, sentence, figures of speech, or allusions in the text. And the critics of this schools of thoughts also examine point of view, tone, and symbols, and after that, critics can declare what the poem means if the later works analyzed is a poem. New criticisms concentrate on the soul meaning that is hidden with the text. Whatever information they need, they're inside the text. By analytic is prominently the study of the text itself, not the culture of author. So we don't have to influence or relating to the author that produced the text or the experienced one as well reading the text. And to apply this approach, any literary text, we have to take in mind that the dictions of the text and consider the etymological roots of every word, along with its denotations and connotations. And we have to examine the grammar, clauses, phrases, constructions, tones, sentences. Afterward, we have to go for every literary element like the point of view, theme, tone, dialogue, narrations, parodies, setting, and so forth, as well as the critics saw relate them to the dramatic situations of the text, as well as we have to evaluate in interrelationship of each element with the text and take in mind where tensions, ambiguities, and paradox arise. After all, we have to justify the result of our work with the above mentioned points to reach the true meaning of the given text. And here also the thought of IA, the full name is Ivor Armstrong's Richard theory. There are 3 dimensions that in his thought. The first one is called as the dramatic situations. And this is the literary work setting. Characters and actions all contribute to establishing the dramatic situations. Dramatic situations are usually unstable, meaning the plot is always changing or constant. So this kind of the first dimensions, according to Richards, it is called as dramatic situations. And the next one is the tone. This is the quality of its characters, situations, and the language. And the third one is intentions. Here means equivalent to what might be called it's a logical thesis. Intentions may not always be clearly stated, but it is what the critic sees as the meaning of the literary works itself, indeed. And of course, the intention is different from the one critic to another, focusing on the content in the text itself. So I'd like to display the example utilizing soft Richards aspects. For example, the first of dramatic situations in the Frozen movie, for examples, it reveals a story of internal and external conflict rooted in identity and connections between Elsa and Anna. That's called a complicated matter situations or the rising problem in the movie. And the next one is tones. It underscores the emotional nuance of fear, hope, and empowerment belongs to the main characters. That one is Elsa and Anna there. And then the next one, intentions, aim to reshape narratives about love. And the intentions of this movie actually is about love and identity, encouraging audiences to value inner strengths and emotional bonds. And I'd like to share too the example of work, this is related to the questions of Bu Nurlina, Hold on a second. I open PDF. Can you see everyone?
Clear,
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. This is one of articles that I cited actually regarding about the concept or theory about new criticisms. The author or the researcher is Rizkan Hendra Ardianto from State University of Surabaya, and he analyzed new criticisms and metonymy. Two aspects or two topic here, two focuses here. New criticism and metonymy, this kind of combinations, because the level of lecture is not only once focus, actually 240, or more than 240. This is he utilized new criticisms here in the novel of the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, And then firstly, he explained about the definitions of what is new criticisms, and then Gothic, and then metonymy, and so forth. And coming to his analysis, he focusing on Richard's theory. That one is a dramatic situation, tone, and intentions. Actually, I cited from here about the definitions of three aspects regarding to Richard's theories. And then he found that, this one, the analysis one. The first one in plot, and then next is setting, yeah, and the next one is the characters, yeah. Only this one. This is the dimensions in new criticism, yeah. This is the slides of criticism. And I'd like to display another work one, but this is only explanations about new criticism. So this is just additional informations. And another one, this one is a study of new criticisms to the poem of Dead Be Not Proud by John Donne. Yeah, the authors is Afghan and Nizam from Afghanistan. Okay, and they applied of new criticisms in a poem, for example, this one, yeah, this is the data one. They both analyze this poet or poem one, Dead Be Not Proud. Yeah, but it's quite clear, yeah, the divisions of their analysis different from the, what it call? The work of Ardianto is different, yeah. So the explanation is embedded here. Okay. So you have to read carefully if you would like to know what kind of analysis here. But maybe you can read from the conclusion is, yeah, this one, yeah. In the Dead Be Not Proud, the author raised a paradox. So they both analyzed the paradox aspect one in the point one. And then he explained that the author raises the paradox at the opening line of the poem here. Therefore, he solved the paradox at the couplet of the text and so forth and so forth. And this one, the example. And I'd like to share to you all. I teach a course of drama actually in undergraduate level. Yeah. And this is kind of new criticism approach actually that I apply to them. Yeah, for example, this is the result of their work. Yeah, they have to analyze one of a Shakespeare word. I only attach here the analysis of Romeo and Juliet. Have you ever heard
Of course.
Romeo and Juliet?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Actually, the course is drama, but because they are from English education program, so I give them the lighter ones, not from the script, but I instructed them from a movie to make them easier to analyze particular work. Yeah, because if they have to analyze from the script, I'm afraid they will face or they would face obstacles to analyze because they are not from English literature. So they can analyze from the movie, but the movie should be adopted from a Shakespeare drama or play. Yeah, this is kind of a new criticism work. What they have to do is they have to watch the movie, of course, and they have to analyze part of new criticism approach. Yeah. The first, they have to analyze the type and then the themes, and then setting, source, yeah, synopsis, characters, and characterization. And this is the work of my students in undergraduate level, everyone. Yeah. And then dramatic structure, and then language style use, and then outstanding feature of the play, and figurative language that already explained by Twinny previously, yeah. Now, the kinds of figurative language that they have to search from the movie, what they found there. They found personifications, allusion, euphemism, and paradox, and they have to screenshot the scenes from the movie, and they have to interpret the meaning of the figurative language itself, what kind of that, and then conclude. And the final one, they have to create a poster. Yeah, poster from the analysis because it's the undergraduate level and we follow obey curriculum, so they have to product something, right? So the product here is the poster one, and this is the example in undergraduate level. And from this, I also make a research in my drama course, everyone. This is my research, becoming an article too. Yeah, it's published in November 2024. Yeah, this is my class, and then I make it to research article and becomes, this is my article regarding about my drama course with entitled Unveiling Online Collaborative Learning and Sense of Community in English Drama Course, Indonesian EFL undergraduate students. So this is the example for you if you would like to conduct a research, because it's forbidden for you to analyze it using in the literature approach or a literature paradigm. But you may conduct a research in ELT approach or methodologies, right? This is kind of my effort, yeah. Here I'm not focusing on the literature works analysis, but I employ adopted from research method that I applied. Later on, I will give this article to you all, yeah. So you can adopt it. How we employ these critical theories to in ELT. You are allowed to do a research with that one, right? But you are not allowed like this one. You are not allowed to conduct a research like this one, right? In graduate level, right? You are not allowed to conduct purely analysis in literature paradigm. You are allowed only utilizing these literature theories to ELT context. Do you understand what I mean? So for you, for master degree level, you are not allowed to conduct research like this one. Yeah, because this is a pure literature project or literature research. Okay, you understand?
Yes.
What you have to do, this is the example one. And applications of literature theories in ELT. Okay, this is the example one. So I apply it, new criticism in my instructions in drama course, right? But I research it in the perspective of ELT. This is the example one, okay? So you may adopt on the part of research method one in my research, yeah? So I grounded in qualitative research, and then I explain about the methodology, then a case study, yeah, qualitative case study descriptive method. That's my research methodology. And this is the explanations of my instructions in my English drama course, yeah. This is last year, academic year 2022 and 2023 in undergraduate level, and you explain about the participant in detail and also material. What are the materials you teach to the student? You have to explain about that one, and the learning media, you have to explain about that one. And then how do you procedure, how you employ the procedure when you teach in the drama course or any kind of subjects that regarding or relating to literature work or literary work, gitu ya. And then my instrument is questionnaire and also semi-structured interview. This is one of the example, maybe can be your inspirations when you are going to employ or conduct research utilizing on critical theories and relating to analyzing literary work. Yeah, hopefully this example answering the Bu Nurlina questions, yeah. And Pak Hen questions. So what is the relations between new criticisms and the next of structuralism theories? As I told you in the previous one, that every single structuralism theory has characteristics, has identity, namely of their theories, right? Todorov has equilibrium, kemudian Barthes has 5 codes, right, and so forth. That they are characteristics, different name, just different name. But what the similar vein between those theories is, in new criticism, what you should highlight is the researcher only or the analyst only focusing on the text. As Barthes says, the death of the author, right? So the author no need to be influenced in your analysis results. So the text is standalone. Yeah, the text is standalone. We only focus analyzing the text itself. We don't have to mix things with the writer or author want to say and so forth. We just focus on the text itself. Yeah, this is the similar veins. And new criticism is the beginning to the formalisms and to the structuralism. So well, actually, there is a similar vein there. Yeah, focusing on structure. Yeah, just focusing on structure. Yeah, but what you should highlight in your criticisms is just focus on the text. We're not mixing or blending with outsider aspect of the text. Okay, hopefully my explanation answer the questions of Pak Hand and Bu Nurlina.
Thank you for the answer.
Actually, this is the easiest one, Pak Hand. This is the easiest one, yeah. It seems like when you call as analyzing intrinsic aspect, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Here in new criticism, we don't have to care about extrinsic, yeah. But you can mix when you do a research. For example, like Ardianto, yeah. Yeah, Ardianto did, yeah. He conducted comparing or combining new criticism with extrinsic metonymy and Gothic here. So it's allowed when you would like to compare here, but compare two approaches here. Yeah. So intrinsics and extrinsic one. For example, Gothic and new criticism one. He makes it in two approaches. Is that allowed? Yes, of course. But we have to explain a theoretical foundation clearly in the introduction part. Okay. Hopefully understandable. I think this is the easiest one, the theory, this new criticism, yeah, because we just analyzing intrinsic aspects, right? Okay, hopefully understood by all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Islam, for this wonderful additional
Okay, good job, yeah, group 6, yeah, good job, group 6. Even though the one of your member couldn't attend this presentation, but you, the show must go on. I do really praise it for that one. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rina,
You struggled
for
in
your
a
appreciation.
Okay. Okay, any more questions from other participants regarding about new criticism? If this theory emerges in your final, your midterm test, can you answer it? Yes, inshallah, yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We'll do our best then, ma'am.
Hopefully.
Alhamdulillahnya online ya.
Alhamdulillah.
But I heard that even though online, the time is very limited.
Yes.
And
So
it
how
will be
would we,
challenging for you. So you have to prepare from now then. Yeah, only 90 minutes if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, hopefully it's wrong. Hopefully it's incorrect. Only 90 minutes. Yeah? So you have to prepare all the things from now on. I just would like to remind to all presenter, have you uploaded your PPT on the link via the descriptions?
Already.
Already,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah,
So your
not all
friends
of it.
can download it from its link, right? So all for one for all, yeah, everyone.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, how to anticipate, ma'am? I mean, if the time for the test is just 90 minutes, then we have no idea how to anticipate the question. Yeah, is it possible if we have knowing the question beforehand?
So I have already actually shared to you the material is beginning from the first meeting, right?
Okay.
Structuralism based on, who's the first one? Let me check it.
Saussure.
Saussure, and then Todorov, yeah.
Todorov and Roland
Yeah.
Barthes.
To anticipate it, you have to be ready, because if you are requested to make an analysis, so it will take a bit of time, right? Even though it's short analysis, yeah, you need time. So anticipated, please prepare the work of analysis regarding to or based or referring to social, referring to grammars, referring to Todorov, referring to boards, and the last one, new criticisms. We haven't touched on critical discourse analysis. We haven't come to that material, or it doesn't include in midterms. But I'll make sure again for the next week our meeting, yeah. And I will inform if there is changing material relating to your midterm tests. Yeah, I myself made it from structuralism social to the current material. So you are focusing on structuralism. To anticipate the time, you have to prepare your analysis work, short analysis work from all those theories that we have already learned, of course. Yeah, prepare it because it will take a time for that one.
How many questions, ma'am?
I made it only 3.
Only 3.
Yeah, I made it, but I'm not sure which one will come up on your midterm test because parallel lecture, right? I don't know which one is selected, right? Hopefully from me. Because I already shared, right? The clues.
Okay,
Hopefully.
okay.
Yeah. All right. That's anticipation, Pak Hen. Don't worry, be happy, Pak Hen. Even though this is your first experiences, yeah. But the most important is if you have any obstacle in technology, that will be challenging too. Because if you submit it over of the time duration, you cannot upload your file. Okay, because it's setting by the time, exactly by the time. Yeah, for example, 90 minutes. So it will be set directly, so you cannot submit it. But don't worry, be happy. You can contact me if you are not.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
You cannot submit it by LMS. Don't worry. I will be standby. Don't worry. For example, ma'am, I've already tried many times to submit my file to LMS, but I couldn't. I don't know. Maybe email or something, blah, blah, blah. As long as the time is not longer from the schedule one, still acceptable. Yeah. Except, for example, today you should submit it, but the next day, yeah, it's different day, right? Yeah, it will be different consideration, of course, if changing state, right? Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic.
Okay, ma'am.
Already panic, yeah, it seems that.
Panic.
Okay. Any more questions? Bismillah, insya Allah bisa.
Amin.
Don't worry, happy everyone.
Amin.
Amin.
Everything is okay. Yeah, everything smooth.
Amin.
Yeah. But what the most important is because you are in master degree level, so you prepare it, yeah, well, comparing to undergraduate level, right? Yeah, I'm sure, or I'm certainly that you have done it. Yeah, prepare all the things. Yeah, not in injury time. Okay, if there is no more questions, thank you so much for your attendance this afternoon. Hopefully all of you in health and safe condition.
Amin.
And it's always in positive thinking because your way, your path, it depends on your mind. If your mind is positive, so everything will be positive, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much for today and see you next week, inshallah, in offline mode, right? Allah ya. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.